Most lists of cheap Florida towns are ranked backwards. They line up the lowest home prices, put the cheapest one at number 1, and call it a day. And every single time, they get it wrong. Because a home price is not a cost of living. A $150,000 home in a town with no hospital, no grocery store, and $4,000 a year flood insurance is not cheaper than a $288,000 home in a town with a military base, a Gulf Coast beach, and a hospital 10 minutes away. It is more expensive. The listing just doesn't show you that. So today I ranked 10 Florida towns by what it actually costs to live there. Not the sticker price on the home, the real monthly number. For each one, I looked at 5 things: the home price, the property taxes, the insurance, how far the nearest hospital is, and what all of it adds up to per month on a paid-off home. That monthly number is how this list is ranked. Number 10 is the worst value. Number 1 is the best. And I can tell you right now, the cheapest house on this list does not finish first. A town that costs almost twice as much on paper finishes ahead of it. Stay until number 1, because the math is going to surprise you. Let's take a look. Number 10. Moore Haven, Glades County. Moore Haven sits on the southwest shore of Lake Okeechobee, about 90 minutes inland from Fort Myers. Glades County has a population of roughly 14,000 people, mostly spread across sugarcane fields and cattle land. The typical home here lists around $240,000, which is well below the statewide average of $378,000. On a standard list, Moore Haven looks like a deal. On this list, it finishes last. The reason is the number behind the number. Lake Okeechobee means FEMA flood zone designations along much of the shoreline. Flood insurance here can run $3,000 to $4,000 a year on top of your regular homeowner's policy. Glades County does not have a hospital. The nearest emergency room is in Clewiston or Okeechobee, each roughly 30 minutes away. There is no chain grocery store in Moore Haven. For most essentials, you are driving 45 minutes each way. When you estimate the monthly cost of owning and living in Moore Haven on a paid-off home, adding property taxes, insurance, utilities, groceries, and the gas it takes to reach a doctor or a supermarket, you land somewhere around $1,400 to $1,500 a month. That is more expensive than 7 other towns on this list. Moore Haven looks affordable. It is not. Number 9. Okeechobee, Okeechobee County. Okeechobee is the bass fishing capital of the world. The town sits on the north shore of Lake Okeechobee, and unlike Moore Haven, it has real infrastructure. HCA Florida Rollerson Hospital is in town. There are chain grocery stores, restaurants, and a working agricultural economy in cattle, citrus, and sugar. The home prices average around $250,000 to $280,000 according to Zillow. So why does a town with a hospital rank 9th? Insurance. Lake Okeechobee drives flood and wind premiums up across the county. When you add those premiums to the property taxes on a $260,000 home, plus utilities and everyday expenses, the total monthly cost of living comes in around $1,100 to $1,200. That is roughly $200 a month more than towns ranked higher on this list that have similar infrastructure. Okeechobee is not a bad place to live. The lake lifestyle, the hospital, the economy, those are real. But when you are paying a lake insurance premium every month for the privilege of living near a body of water managed by the Army Corps of Engineers, you are spending more than the listing prepared you for. That gap between what you expected to pay and what you actually pay is what puts Okeechobee at number 9. The next town has no lake, no insurance problem, and a river most people would love to live on. But it has a different cost the listing does not mention. Number 8. Blountstown, Calhoun County. Blountstown sits on the Apalachicola River in the Florida Panhandle. Calhoun County has some of the lowest home values in the entire state. According to Zillow's Home Value Index, the typical home here runs around $180,000. The downtown is small but real. The river frontage gives the town genuine character. The pace of life is as close to old Florida as you can get. The cost you do not see on the listing is distance. Blountstown is an hour from Panama City in one direction and an hour from Tallahassee in the other. Calhoun Liberty Hospital is a critical access facility, which means limited beds, limited services, and anything serious means a long ambulance ride. Groceries are a single local store for most of what you need. On a paid-off home, the monthly cost of living lands around $1,000 to $1,100. That is genuinely low. But roughly 200 of those dollars every month are gas and time spent driving to the nearest mid-sized city for a specialist, a pharmacy, or a hardware store. When you subtract that driving cost, the savings over a better connected town disappear. For someone who truly wants solitude and river beauty above all else, Blountstown has a case. But this list ranks value, not scenery. And value includes what you give up in time. The next town is even cheaper on paper. And it is the one that proves the whole thesis of this video. Number 7. Jasper, Hamilton County. I want you to remember this town because Jasper is the example that shows why sticker price rankings are misleading. Jasper is the county seat of Hamilton County, tucked into North Florida, about 15 miles south of the Georgia line. The home prices here are among the lowest in Florida. You can find livable homes for $110,000 to $150,000. Property taxes average around $800 a year. The Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center State Park in nearby White Springs is a genuine cultural landmark. The Suwannee River runs through the county. By sticker price alone, Jasper would rank near the top of any cheap Florida list. But here is what those lists skip. Hamilton County has one of the highest poverty rates in the state. There is no hospital in the county. The nearest full-service emergency room is in Lake City, about 30 minutes south, or across the state line in Valdosta, Georgia. Grocery options are limited. The median household income is well below the state average, which means the local economy offers very little for someone who needs work. When you estimate the monthly cost of living here on a paid-off home, you land around $1,000 to $1,050. And here is the number that matters. Later on this list, you will see a town where the home costs $288,000, almost twice as much as Jasper, and the actual monthly cost of living is lower. That reversal is the entire point of this video. A cheap house is not a cheap life. The next town gets that balance slightly more right, and it has one of the most beautiful springs in all of Florida. Number 6. Madison, Madison County. Madison is the county seat of Madison County, located along Interstate 10 about an hour east of Tallahassee. Homes here typically run between $150,000 and $200,000. Property taxes average under $1,000 a year. The anchor is Madison Blue Springs State Park. It is a first magnitude spring, one of the top rated in all of Florida, with crystal clear water, cave diving, swimming, and kayaking on the Withlacoochee River. The town has a quiet historic downtown and a pace that feels genuinely removed from the rest of the state. Madison County Memorial Hospital is available but small. The local economy runs mostly on agriculture and government. The median household income is low. If you are living on retirement income or working remotely, the combination of low taxes, natural beauty, and a home under $200,000 creates real value. If you need a local job or regular specialist care, the value drops. Monthly cost of living on a paid-off home comes in around $980. That is where the ranking starts to shift. From here forward, every town gives you more for less, and the line between cheap and valuable starts to separate. Number 5. Milton, Santa Rosa County. This is the placement that will make some of you rewind. Milton has the highest sticker price on this entire list. The typical home runs about $288,000. On a sticker price ranking, Milton would be dead last. On a value ranking, it finishes 5th. Here is why. Milton is the county seat of Santa Rosa County in the Western Panhandle, about 20 minutes northeast of Pensacola. For that $288,000, you are getting Gulf Coast proximity without Gulf Coast insurance premiums because you are slightly inland, just far enough to dodge the highest wind zone surcharges. You are getting 2 military installations nearby, Naval Air Station Pensacola and Whiting Field, which means a defense industry job base that has been stable for generations. Santa Rosa Medical Center is right in town. The Blackwater River, one of the purest sand-bottom rivers in the world, runs through the county. The cost of living in the Pensacola metro runs roughly 6% below the national average. Santa Rosa County property taxes are moderate. Insurance stays lower than the coast. No state income tax. The monthly cost of living on a paid-off home in Milton comes in around $965. Let me say that again. A $288,000 home in Milton costs roughly $965 a month to live in. A $150,000 home in Jasper costs roughly $1,000 to $1,050 a month. The town with the more expensive house is cheaper to live in. That is the difference between a sticker price and a cost of living. And that is what this list is measuring. The next town costs even less. And the reason is a property tax bill that will make you check the number twice. Number 4. Bonifay, Holmes County. Bonifay is a small town in the Panhandle, population about 2,800. The median home price in Holmes County recently came in around $160,000. That is cheap, but the property tax bill is what changes the math entirely. Holmes County has the lowest property taxes in the entire state of Florida. According to the Tax Foundation, the median annual property tax bill is $527. That is not a monthly number. That is the full year. In a state where the average homeowner pays over $3,400 a year, Holmes County saves you nearly $3,000 annually before you have turned the lights on. Add that tax advantage to inland insurance rates, which stay well below anything on the coast or near a lake, and the monthly cost of living on a paid-off home drops to around $950. You are living cheaper here than in Madison, which has a similar home price. You are living cheaper here than in Jasper, which has a lower home price. The property taxes are doing the heavy lifting. Bonifay has character too. The Northwest Florida Championship Rodeo has been running for more than 80 years. Falling Waters State Park just south of town is home to the tallest waterfall in the state. Doctors Memorial Hospital in Bonifay is small, a 25-bed critical access facility, and anything major means a drive to Panama City or Dothan, Alabama. That healthcare gap keeps Bonifay from ranking higher. But when you measure value, a $160,000 home with a $500 tax bill and a $950 monthly cost of living is a deal that is hard to argue with. Number 3. Starke, Bradford County. Starke is the county seat of Bradford County, about 30 minutes southwest of Jacksonville and 30 minutes north of Gainesville. Homes in and around Starke typically run between $180,000 and $215,000. That is not the cheapest price on this list. It does not need to be. What makes Starke rank third is one thing: proximity. You are 30 minutes from UF Health Shands Hospital, one of the top-ranked medical centers in the entire Southeast. That proximity is worth real money. A retiree in Jasper who needs a cardiologist is driving an hour-and-a-half round trip. A retiree in Starke is driving 30 minutes to a world-class facility. Over the course of a year, that difference shows up in gas, in time, and in peace of mind. Camp Blanding Joint Training Center has been a stable employer in this area for decades. Keystone Heights, just east of Starke, adds lakefront recreation. Bradford County sits fully inland with minimal flood exposure, so insurance stays low. Property taxes are modest. Monthly cost of living on a paid-off home here comes in around $920. For that, you get a quiet small town with a walkable downtown, a top medical center 30 minutes away, a military employment anchor, and no flood insurance premium. That is what value looks like. If you have made it to number 3, you are clearly the kind of person who reads the fine print before signing anything. Subscribe. I cover towns like this every single week. Number 2. Live Oak, Suwannee County. Live Oak sits at the junction of Interstate 75 and Interstate 10 in north-central Florida. The typical home lists around $228,000. And the total monthly cost of living comes in at roughly $910 on a paid-off home. That is $90 less than Milton, which costs $60,000 more to buy. And it is $550 less than Moore Haven, which is priced $12,000 higher. The ranking on this list has almost nothing to do with the ranking on a sticker price list. Live Oak earns its spot with a combination that most small Florida towns simply do not have. HCA Florida Suwannee Hospital is in town. Interstate 10 and Interstate 75 meet just outside of town, connecting you to Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Gainesville, and Tampa without the two-lane highway isolation that defines the bottom half of this list. The spirit of the Suwannee Music Park hosts festivals year-round and draws visitors from across the Southeast. The Suwannee River runs through the county. The property taxes are under $1,000 a year. The insurance stays low because you are inland, out of the flood zones and wind zones, and because you have 2 interstates, you are never more than an hour from a major city if you need something Live Oak does not have. Your monthly cost of living of $910 gets you a hospital, a highway, a river, and a home on a quiet street. For scale, a studio apartment in Orlando or Tampa runs $1,200 to $1,400 a month in rent alone. You are owning a home and covering your entire cost of living for less than what someone else pays to rent one room. And then there is number one. Number 1. Marianna, Jackson County. Marianna is not the cheapest home on this list. You saw cheaper in Jasper. You saw cheaper in Bonifay. But Marianna has the lowest total monthly cost of living of any town I looked at, and it is not close. Marianna is the county seat of Jackson County, located in the Panhandle, about an hour west of Tallahassee and an hour east of Pensacola along Interstate 10. Homes here sell for between $115,000 and $185,000, with many solid 3-bedroom homes under $150,000. Here is what that price buys you. Jackson Hospital is a full-service community hospital right in town. Chipola College serves the surrounding region. Florida Cavern State Park, the only place in the entire state where you can tour dry caves open to the public, is 10 minutes from downtown. The Chipola River runs through the park for paddling and swimming. The downtown has a courthouse square, local restaurants, and a community that has been here for generations. Now the numbers. According to cost of living data, Marianna runs roughly 19% below the national average and 26% below the average Florida city. Property taxes in Jackson County average around $625 a year. Groceries run below the national average. Healthcare costs run below the national average. Insurance stays low because you are fully inland, away from every flood zone and every coastal wind surcharge in the state. When you add it all up, the estimated monthly cost of living in Marianna on a paid-off home comes in around $800. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, groceries, gas, all of it. $800 a month. For perspective, a $150,000 home in Jasper, which looked like the cheapest place on this list, costs roughly $1,000 to $1,050 a month to live in. Marianna costs $800. The more expensive home is the cheaper life. Again, picture this. You own a 3-bedroom home on a quiet street near a courthouse square. Your property taxes run about $50 a month. You drive 10 minutes to a hospital. Your grandkids visit, and you take them into a cave system that most Floridians do not even know exists. Your total monthly cost of living is $800. That is not a fantasy. That is an ordinary month in Marianna, Florida. So here is what ties all 10 together. 3 forces explain why these rankings work the way they do. First, the sticker price of a Florida home tells you what the seller is asking. It does not tell you what the state, the county, and the insurance company are going to charge you every month for the rest of the time you own it. Those recurring costs are where the real differences hide. Second, infrastructure has a dollar value. A town with a hospital saves you gas, time, and risk. A town on an interstate saves you hours of 2-lane driving. A town with a grocery store saves you a weekly 60-mile round trip. These savings do not appear on any listing, but they show up in your bank account every single month. Third, and this is the one most people miss, the cheapest home in Florida is not in the town with the lowest price tag. It is in the town where the lowest price tag meets the lowest recurring costs and the highest quality of everyday life. When those 3 things line up, you get Marianna. When they do not, you get Moore Haven. Whether you are running the numbers on retirement, planning a move, or just curious about where your money actually goes the furthest in this state, I hope this list reframed the question. The right question is not where is the cheapest home, it is where is the cheapest life. Subscribe so you catch next week's list. And tell me in the comments which town you think I ranked wrong. I read every single one.